what I do believe is the future of real estate is not coming, that it's here. And we've learned a lot of that through, even it's been sped up in the way I interpret it by this COVID business. I think a lot of people have come to some new realizations as to where they see the industry and where they fit within the industry. So today I'm going to share with you what I believe are some truths for me. And what I would say is the truth, while it may set you free, first, it might upset you a little bit, let's just say. So I would just say just quickly, and really Adrian covered off on most of that just now when we've been chatting informally, is why listen to me if you haven't heard of me before. Well, I would probably suggest that whilst I may not be responsible for their success, because each and every one of these people, even though many of them have paid me money, many of them have been co-trainers with me, for the real estate industry. Some are a hybrid of both, meaning folks like Chris Gilmore, actually who's absent on this event. He couldn't be a part of this one, but he's been at so many. But even Matt and Adrian, like whilst I've added, like I went and did a couple of sessions down in Adrian's office down there. You know, not that, you know, Adrian probably just heard when I was talking about, you know, some of these principles and concepts into his team and to him. All he probably heard was, "You're doing it right, Adrian." Because everything that I was talking about, he epitomizes, you know, same as the Matt Steinwades, the Marcus Cuminellos. So, but what I would say is that most of these students in this event, like in this event here, the $1 Million Agent Summit, with the exception of the American imports, so that's the $1 Million Listing Stars, Luis and the Altmans, every one of these humans have paid me some bucks and have learned something from me, with the exception of Aaron. Aaron's been a coach and a co-mentor of mine. But you know what I mean? Like some of the best of the best of the best in the industry either give me some credit for their success or choose to hang out in our little clique and in our world. And it's been an honor over the years to have Adrian as a part of that, you know, that mess, you know, like when we had Sir Richard Branson, we had a who's who of the real estate industry. So what I would say is the reason you might want to listen and sort of take this stuff on board is we've seen a thing or two in our career, and you know, and we've learned a thing or two that we can now share with you. So one thing I've taken away from the recent, you know, lockdown, if you will, for the last couple of months, is we've seen more people rethinking their place in the industry and wanting to work online and from home. You know, and even there's almost a bit of a reluctant debate going on as to whether agents want to emerge from the cave and get back to work. There's a bunch of them saying, I don't think I'm going to do opens anymore. I'm just going to keep doing this private inspection. So we are seeing more people wanting to work remotely in an online world using some of those online tools that are at our disposal now. We have seen some bricks and mortar business owners realizing just how vulnerable their cash flow was, because if something like a month away from their business, whether it's governmentally mandated or whether the marketplace decides that the buyers are all going to go away because of something like a global financial crisis or like a mandated everyone's locked up. But a lot of people are realizing that the expenses that they've got don't necessarily go away when buyer demand goes away or when seller demand goes away or when market forces change. So we've seen a lot of bricks and mortar business owners either questioning the validity of their business or frankly closing the doors. So it's been a real eye-opener for many people in both of those ways. Now, this goes back to when I started in the industry. One of the things that I've noticed historically that hasn't changed, has been consistent, is salespeople wanting more. Because when you think about when I got into real estate, you get your salesperson's ticket, you learn how to do it pretty well, and one of two things happen. Either A, your principal licensee may let you buy into his company, happens from time to time maybe, but rarely, or you get to want to become a principal licensee yourself. And when you think about it, the principal who gave you a start in the first place, either you become, say you work for one of the big corporates, say a Harcourts or a Ray White or, you know, again, Adrian's stomping grounds in his history was the McGrath organization. So say you get into any of those networks, you get really good, you become a great salesperson. Well, what's the next step up the career path? It's you either get a Ray White or a Harcourts or whatever your franchise is, you know, you get a McGrath agency of your own if there's room. But really what that means for you is you've probably got to move away from the core marketplace currently held by your current principal licensee. So you've got to start again almost from scratch in a area away from where you have your database and have your reputation and all of those things. Or your current principal who gave you a chance in the first place loses you and you start up another brand in direct competition to the person who gave you a start. And now to varying degrees of, oh, well, that's okay, because some principal licensees are supportive of that. I've seen that. Some principal licensees are less than supportive of that and they're cranky, and you can almost understand why, is that they helped make you, I suppose. And then you leave their organization, you go and work in competition to them, and that must, and I've seen it, make them cranky, you know, where they do all sorts of, and we've seen legal stashes, we've seen all that. And it's because there is no career path for real estate agents to go up other than become really good at what you're doing and then open your own shop. So salespeople want that, and yet there hasn't really been the opportunity for that. And certainly one of the other takeaways that was exacerbated by the recent, mess, let's just say, but certainly this has been a growing thing over the last couple of years, has been the entire industry questioning the value offered by whether it's like groups, because some of these groups aren't franchises. So of course there's the franchises and there's all the major ones, but then there's groups where they're not really a franchise, but they're a group like I think First National or the Professionals. They're not a franchise per se, but they're a collective in some way, shape or form. But whatever it is, they all have varying degrees of deals being offered, and the industry has been, there's been a lot of upheaval with people questioning the value offered by the franchises and the groups. So, before we move on, I suppose, to maybe some of the solutions that we've been investigating, for me, for the last 3 years, pretty hardcore for the last year, and in concert with some colleagues of mine, Lisa B, Adrian Bowe, Naomi, and some of my, close friends and things of that nature, for the last 6 months or so. But before we get to that, Adrian, if you're still with us, what are your takes on these things recently and over the years leading up to now on those 4, I suppose, challenges that we might have identified that the industry has had as a problem per se?
Yeah, look, I think they're all very accurate observations, Glenn, and I think what's happened is that the COVID crisis, if you like, has just accelerated the attention of these points, and really what we're saying is that you don't necessarily have to have a huge office premises in the local area, and that's been proven, obviously, during this crisis. And it's true what you say about agents starting off as an associate, and then an agent, and then a possible principal, etc. It's a very challenging pathway that is not very well mapped out and not very well thought through. It usually happens by default. I've been in the industry for 31 years, and what happens quite commonly is that a very successful agent is looking for the next thing, and the next thing in their mind is usually to own an office or be a partner in the office. The challenge with that is that as soon as you go from being an agent, which is really your highest and best use, as soon as you go from that to doing operational work or managerial work or whatever it is involved in running a business, what you're automatically doing is cannibalizing your highest and best use. And your highest and best use is actually as a listing and selling agent, because that's the sort of $500 an hour stuff. But, in terms of dealing with HR issues or dealing with the front office manager not coming in that day because she's unwell, or dealing with a client complaint or whatever, all those things, that they might be sort of $50 an hour type things, which, every hour, every day, every week, every month that you're dedicated toward those tasks, all of a sudden you think, wow, I was writing 2 million GCI, now I'm writing 600, or I was writing 600, now I'm writing 100. But ego says, great, I've got my name up in lights, and I'm an owner of a business. Well, you know, there's plenty of ways to skin a cat, you know, and through my entire career, you know, I was always the lead sales agent, and the reason that most people want to open their own office or whatever is usually due to wealth creation, you know. But for me, I had a different way of wealth creation, which was to buy investment property. So I was continuing to write the GCI and do 100 sales a year, every year, sometimes more. And instead of sort of owning my own office, I was buying investment property, which don't have a secretary, don't have a photocopier, don't, you know, they just tick over, and they sort of, you know, they're a passive form of income, and they even grow in value. So I think, you know, to own a business is challenging at the moment, because commission rates have gone up for agents. Commission charges to clients haven't necessarily gone up. They may have either stayed stable or gone down a fraction. You know, and margins are just tighter for everyone. So I know you're sort of going to announce what we're working on, and I think it's an exciting opportunity for a lot of people in that space that are established agents looking for the next thing. Well, this could be the next thing, you know. And you said, you know, like, you know, people saying that the real estate industry is going to change, or there's a massive disruptor coming, or whatever. Well, I think what we're going to talk about today is somewhat of a disruption. And I think it's a great opportunity for people that are looking for wealth creation and stay on purpose and stay on your highest and best use, which is your best skill set, which is 90 to 95% of the time being in front of people that want to buy or sell a house. That's pretty simple as do, because the less time you're doing that, the more time you're dedicating towards, you know, $50 an hour type stuff. And frankly, the less money you're making. I'm not saying money is the only barometer, but let's assume, given we're in the sales business here, let's assume that's the metric of success. Then I can tell you now that the less time you're spending either prospecting, listing, selling, or keeping a deal together, because they're the only ways you make money in real estate, those 4 or 5 things, then the less money you're making. You know, it's just as simple as that.
And a lot of people have the false economy that, because even $50 an hour, if that's $40 a week, 40 hours a week, though, so 40 times 50, that's $2,000 a week. That's $100,000 a year income. So people think, oh, I can't afford that 100. So you're not saving $100,000 a year or $50 an hour. Make no mistake. You're costing the difference between your hourly rate and $50. So you're not saving $50 an hour by you doing those tasks. You're costing yourself 5 to 10 times that amount, which is the differential of the opportunity cost of what Adrian is saying there. And it's a scary trap to be in, because the first thing is you've got to be brave enough to put on that $50 an hour. And then you've got to be smart enough to make sure they're not just doing the $50 an hour and you get to sit around on Zoom and drink ice water, that you've got to be making sure you're doing those $500 an hour activities en masse while they do those $50 an hour activities. And I suppose, Adrian, that's been your forte, is doing it for yourself, training it for your internal people, and now, you know, of late, coaching other people to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, if you look at most agents' diaries, a lot of them don't consist of those activities I just talked about: prospecting, selling, listing, keeping a deal together, negotiation. Like often it's, you know, dropping keys off, doing things, and they're all important things to do, but they're not dollar productive. And the best way to stay relevant in this industry, and it's an ever-changing industry, and COVID is just a metaphor, really. If it's not COVID, it was 9/11. Not 9/11, it was GFC. If it wasn't GFC, it was the recession we had to have in the early 90s. There'll always be something, you know, like there's a black swan every 5 years in our lives, you know, whether it's a relationship, health, whatever. Everyone in their life has what we call like a black swan, you know, every 5 years, and this has just been a global black swan. So I think you need to be prepared for it. you need to recognize what your highest and best use is. Is it an operations person in a small business, or is it a listing and selling agent? You know, and I think ego, and I mentioned it before, that's an important one, because a lot of people will sort of want their names on the door, which is good. And what we're going to talk about is an opportunity to actually do all of that.
Yeah, the best of both worlds.
Yeah, so I think that's something that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, it's been the first time, Adrian, that I've even considered, I suppose, whilst what we're talking about, guys, isn't, you know, Adrian and I aren't launching Twiddle real estate, right? The last thing the industry needs is another bloody brand, another franchise or whatever. So, but we are talking about a way that you can kind of collectively get all of the things that we've been talking about as a challenge, because we've taken on board every challenge that we've experienced, both, you know, in our industry, which is unique, and the skill sets that we've developed individually. And when I talk about our sort of our leadership team that we've assembled, every one of us have got our own unique lane, I suppose. And what I love is, you know, Adrian and I are a great metaphor for it, is that we both have the same religion, so to speak, your success, but we both are pastors of a different church. You know, we both have different methodologies of getting there, but they're all based on the same principles. And I love it that our skill sets nicely complement each other, in that, you know, I've sort of focused on marketing and getting you people into doors. And I've never seen anyone in this country better than you, Adrian, at systematic approach to doing the business once you have gotten into a door. You know, it's just a magnificent thing. So I've never been more pumped about something that we're, you know, that I'm going to do. And that includes some of the high profile stuff I've done. I've never been more fired up about something than this right now. So, you know, in the midst of all this chaos, there's something that's really interesting that's that I think is going to come out of it. So let me get back to those slides there. So if that's some of the challenges, and I definitely want to put on this challenging slide. In fact, I'm going to do it right now, because you guys are the first ones to see this. I haven't shown some of my best friends in the industry this. This is literally invite only. And I'm going to say, agents horrible at keeping some dollars. I'll word that better later. But certainly what Adrian said is, we're pretty good at making cash, but we ain't too good at the wealth creation side as an industry, right? So that's one of the things that definitely we're going to talk about. So the big question, if you owned a Blockbuster Video and you knew, you had a crystal ball and knew Netflix was coming, what would you do? All right. This was the revenue of Netflix versus Blockbuster in the late 90s and up until a couple of years ago. So in 2000, Blockbuster didn't purchase Netflix. It was offered to them at $50 million, and they virtually laughed Netflix out of the room, who were doing virtually nothing. For the next few years, Netflix did their DVD mail order business, which saw them get some market share. What happened in 2007, Netflix launched their streaming platform, the technological innovation that changed everything. And then that happened, and then that happened. So if you were Blockbuster and you knew that was going to happen, you would just act differently if you knew that curve was coming. So the things to look for when because we've seen all these people say they're going to be the Uber of real estate. And we've seen most of them attack it from discounting and going straight to the consumers. We've never yet seen any of these supposed disruptors. And I'm not even saying this is the same thing, but we've never seen someone take something that the agents and have truly an agent-centric model for the first time. So, but the things to look for, if you were looking for the Uber of any industry, or the Netflix of any industry, or the Amazon of any industry, the first thing they've all got in common is a technological innovation. They've all got in common some sort of a cost reduction to consumers. They've all got an ease of execution. So the thing that Netflix solved is the ease of execution. I mean, you don't have to go down to the video shop. You just jump online and it's all there for you to choose from. And it costs a little bit less, but it's always involved a cost reduction in either convenience or money, and a move from traditional to online and cloud-based, offering everything that the incumbent players do, but making it either easier or cheaper or both. Those are the things to look for. So Apple, these all started in the garage and then did those things. I mean, I love this graphic where Apple, Google, Amazon, Harley, Disney, they all started in the garage. So the question I would ask of you is, what would you have given to be in one of those garages and had Steve Jobs or had Jeff Bezos or whatever say, hey, you want in? Now, here's the beauty of this. What would you give to be in the garage where you knew that this was the curve that was going to happen? So what this is a screen grab of is the curve. See, I met this, the vehicle that is going to power and be the vehicle behind what Adrian and I are doing. I found out about, and I started researching in the States in 2017 when it came across my plate. I spent a year and a half doing due diligence. That takes us to mid-2018, end of 2019. Then I spent the last year planning for launch now. That's been so we know that this is what happened in the States. Agent count. They're up to about 29,000 real estate agents in America. They've got as many agents in this one vehicle as we have in the entire country here. And here's the beauty of this. Today, we're talking about what it's like to be here when we know this is going to happen here in Australia. So given that, you've got the opportunity to be in the garage, and especially given that at the moment you probably either own or you work for a blockbuster and they just don't know what's coming. So this is the old way. We've got the brand, we've got the various principles, and we've got you and the agents. This was the way we all come into this business. The brand gives the rules, the brand standards that mainly benefit the brand, and their job is to find franchisees. If they want to grow, they've got to find franchisees. So what they're hoping is you or one of your compadres becomes a principal and, like I said, competes with the boss in some way, either under that brand or under a new brand. Now, the principal's job is to promise marketing, promise training, promise leads, promise admin systems, basically promise an environment for success. And to one degree or another, they deliver on that. Now, sometimes they deliver it wonderfully, but that's just the job. I'm not saying whether they do it well or whether this is a good or a bad thing, but I'm saying this is the way that it has always been done. And the challenge that I've always had from the moment I started is your only option when and if you succeed, if you want to go up the career path, is open your own, either with your current brand, thus you've got to move geographical areas and start again, or you start in your own geographical area under another brand and you're in competition with the poor bugger who gave you a start in the first place. And so this way is the first time I've ever seen let's call it a vehicle that allows your rules, your brand choices, totally focused on what you need, shares in the company, and it's a real company. An online vehicle that I'm going to show you in a moment. You build your own business without the insane expensive overheads. And, if I was arrogant, I would say it's a good thing to have me involved. But what I would say is, look, make up your own mind whether having me and Adrian and Lisa and Naomi, and you're going to see our leadership faculty later. If you'd like us to be your board unpaid, then I would suggest that might be something that is of value. And I've got to come up with a better name for it. At the moment, I've just thought, okay, the Agent Assist Network, but it's powered by this international vehicle called eXp, and it's only just been launched in Australia, owned by agents. So, and it's the only agent-owned cloud-based agency. So let's go with the key points first. First off, up to 100% commission split. And we're going to talk about how you can get all the commission. Virtually all of it. No royalties, no franchise fees, no desk fees. A revenue share / sales overriders, if you will, paid to you if one of your people that you bring in grows to the point where they want to be their own boss. Okay? You're awarded, depending upon your production, shares in the publicly listed company. Your own brand, or you can have our brand, or you can have complete flexibility of how you present yourself to the marketplace, including a world-class tech platform, an online, this is the technological innovation, the online cloud campus, access to everything that I do that's created many of those $1 million agents that you see on all the big stages around the country. you know. And so Adrian mentioned no longer needing a bricks and mortar office in a certain geographical area in order to be successful. You know, we talked before about some of the success stories. Chris Gilmore, when I first worked with him, his little office was like 5 kilometers away from, it was ages away from, I don't know how far, but it was ages away from where his core marketplace was. Not one person from Drewvale went into that little hairdresser salon sized office that was in wherever it was in, down in Browns Plains somewhere. No one went to Chris because of his geographic position at his bricks and mortar office. So you'll get access to all of the marketing, lead generation systems and training that other people pay up to $50,000 a year for. That's part of the deal. And all of the agency subscriptions, etc., included, including my agent social media system that you see now generating leads and appraisals for agents on call. So I wanted to show you one thing first before we go, and this is the technological innovation. Let's just take a little look at this. And I don't think the sound is on this, but okay, so let's just go to what it looks like. Okay. So this is you. You create an avatar of yourself. I don't know if you can hear the dodgy music, but there's music playing. But so there's you. You become an avatar, and within this virtual world is everything that an office provides, be it accounting, training, okay, soccer, of all things. All right, meeting areas, informal, presentations, backflips, of course, all right. So effectively, what you do is everything that a current office provides, they've taken digitally online, you access via avatar. So whether that's auditoriums and training rooms for smaller groups or big auditoriums with world-class training platforms, your accounting, your IT department, everything that you currently go to your principal and say, oh, I need my printer hooked up because it's dodgy. There's a department in there for that. So everything that is currently offered by an office, because you might say, how can they offer 100% commission to an agent? I got costs to pay. I got bills to pay, Glenn. Well, if we remove all that and give economies of scale to everything, like imagine this, in Carina, where I've had, you know, clients over the years, I've had friends work in that area. I know that if you go from the top of Carina and walk south for like 100 meters, you pass Rain and Horn, then there's a few houses, then there's Remax, then there's a IGA, and then there's a butcher, and then there's another real estate agent, then there's 2 more shops, and then there's another there's like 10 agencies within a 50-meter strip mall of shops. It's ridiculous. It's insane. Each of those agencies has 5, 10 agents all working for them. They've all got a realestate.com account. They've all got secretaries. They've all got trust accounts. They've all got these inefficient things that if there was just one big office amongst those 10, they'd only need one real estate agent. There would be economies of scale to collectively everyone finding a way to work together. And those economies of scale would allow for distribution of the commission to either go to the consumer if you choose. I'm not even saying that's what you should do. I'm saying the distribution of that commission, if you provide the value that's the same as any one agent, then why not distribute that amongst each other and actually put aside something to build some wealth? So that's just one of the technological innovations that I was a little weirded out by. I'm like, Jesus, I look like an idiot. My son plays games that look silly like this. But there's hundreds of agents around the world logged into that at any one time. And like you saw, some of them are playing soccer and actually having fun. Now, that's not why I'm in business, but I tell you, there's a bunch of people that like the camaraderie of having a quick game of soccer after a sales meeting and then getting to work. You know, because one of the things that a lot of the agencies where, you know, you can, and there are some offers and some brands where you kind of just work for yourself, your own thing, and you get a high percentage of the commission. But it's kind of a little bit solitary in some of those worlds. And I saw the camaraderie firsthand, because when you're an avatar, like, I don't know, again, I've got some slides showing this in a minute, but when you're an avatar, say you're on the other side of the room, it detects your voice and you say, hey, Adrian, what's going on? And you'll hear me, but it'll be softer. And as we get closer together, it's like we're conversing like this. It's a freakily amazing kind of piece of tech. Supposedly cost them $12 million to create that world. They had to buy the company that made it. And this company, eXp, the vehicle that we're building our framework on, you know, with me and Adrian and all of those guys, is they bought the company because they're not IT, VR, avatar world computer game makers. So they bought the company for 12 million bucks. And, and it looks great to me. It weirded me out for a while, but I thought, well, look, if that's the way the world is going, then it's an interesting way to get everything that an office provides, but without the expensive overheads lining up of 10 shops. So Adrian, did you have anything to add to, I suppose, that kind of world? And, you know, for those of us, I'll play devil's advocate. Oh, that looks tacky, you know, or that's, you know, what did you think when you saw kind of the world, for want of a better term?
I think I'm probably the perfect example, Glenn. You know, recently I've sort of been out of the listing and selling world, you know, for 6 months, and I've recently gone back in. And I think I mentioned earlier, you know, one of the reasons was for the professional camaraderie. But you know, I've sort of probably done it in a more traditional way. But I am an advocate for this eXp and this project, and I think that's the way everything's headed. And you can achieve that camaraderie online, and not necessarily is your professional companion the person down the street, up the road, or in the next suburb. It could be in Europe or in North America or in Canada, you know. So and the objective collaboration that comes with that is priceless, you know. I mean, being able to connect just like that with anyone across the other side of the world, and share challenges, share wins. You know, all the objections in real estate are all the same. You know, someone that wants to pay less and get the best price, that's indiscriminate whether you're in Europe or Australia or North America. You know, the clients, that's what clients are like, you know. And a buyer wants to pay the least amount of money for a property. So being able to share your challenges, share your wins, and I suppose, you know, come together in a forum that is a collaborative forum, with like-minded people, as we're talking about, I think that's outstanding. And it's probably ahead of its time. So, I think most people would look at that video and listen to our conversation, say, you know what, that's probably something that'll happen in the future, something that'll happen 30, 40 years from now. But why delay the inevitable? I think that what agents are after are a few things. One is they want their market profile, so their name to be on a signboard or their name to be on a brand or whatever. So that's achievable through this forum or through this platform. Number two, they want the highest possible commission structure. That's achievable on this platform. Number three is they want a destiny or a journey to wealth creation. That's achievable on this platform. That's apart from just listing and selling real estate. I'm talking about passive annuity style income, which is achievable on this platform. So, you know, they're the main three drivers I find that agents are after. Once they get through their first or second year in sales, they're usually thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind a profile or my branding. I wouldn't mind some passive income, you know, because I get this listing and selling stuff. I've sort of gone from 20 sales to 40 to 60 to, you know, to whatever it might be. So this is an obvious journey for our industry, and I think it's an inevitable journey. And it just happens to be this platform, which obviously is already existing in North America, and I think it's just a matter of time until it's very well embraced here in Australia.
Yeah, and certainly the thing that that we will get to now, we'll get to some of the nitty gritty of how it works. In that world, that's where you're going to see me and Adrian delivering our training per se to help get you to the success that you want to get to. It won't be via Zoom. It'll be in that virtual world via avatar, and it'll be in amongst, because I've had a look at the 15 to 25 hours a week that globally they offer, it's world-class speakers and trainers that hang out in that world, not just me and above and beyond just me and Adrian. And so that's kind of the vehicle is eXp Australia. But you don't have to be branded publicly as just eXp Australia. You can if you want to. It's a global public company, one of the fastest growing in the world, bar none. So if you chose your corporate brand, how you are exposed to the marketplace to be that, you have that option. If you chose for it to be your company in association with it, because there's no way a friend of mine, Chris Gilmore, will ever rebrand to eXp. Never in a million years. So you've got the option to keep whatever branding that you have currently invested in association with eXp. You can have that as a brand. Or you can just, like the Hardens. The Hardens have made some tweaks to some of the systems internally within eXp. That's what I like about it. It is totally flexible. My friends Alex and Felicity Harden Property, are completely still Harden Property. They've maintained their own brand. So it's truly, because there is no way, the Goulds, the Joanne Rulleys, none of my friends and clients will necessarily just rebrand because they've spent too much time, effort, and money in their own brands. So you've got the opportunity to be truly, with complete flexibility, part of something massive. And that is this opportunity in conjunction with, I suppose, whatever I name me. I don't know if I'll call it the Agent Assist Network. I don't know what we're going to call this business within the eXp business, which is where, me and Adrian, Lisa, and our little network. But it is powered by this eXp opportunity. So it gets rid of all the things that we didn't like about a typical franchise opportunity, and it brings in the cloud campus, the live training, real-time support whenever you need it, international collaboration, and as Adrian was talking about, the wealth creation ability that is there. So that truly what Netflix did to Blockbuster, what Uber did to cabs, what Amazon did to retailers, that we do to, without malice. We're not doing it because, there's anything against them. I'm just saying that that's the old way and this is the way moving forward. So, you know enough about me. That's my resume. Again, Adrian's is this. He's the greatest of the great. But imagine if we were going to open up a business next door to you. And this was the board of, now Greg McDaniel owns the Real Estate Uncensored International podcast. So he's one of my American friends. So imagine if this was the board of directors that were about to start in an agency opening next door, that these were the salespeople starting next door. Now, I've only spoken to 20 odd people about this, 20. I've spoken to no one about this. Andrew G is in, right? Alex and Felicity. Virtually 3/4 of the people I spoke to out of those 20, I think 15 of them are on board, signed up, and ready to rock. So we've got some opportunities very early for this to be you, and these be your business partners. Me and Adrian, Naomi and Lisa to help us execute, Greg McDaniel to get you global and international fame on his podcast, Real Estate Uncensored, one of the most downloaded podcasts in the world. Google it and have a look. It's great. So if that was going to be the case and we were going to open up next door, what if we came to you and said, we want you on the board, you keep all the money and you get us for nothing? Would that be interesting? So that's exactly what we're talking about. So let's give you some of the nitty gritty for a little bit. Then we're going to do some Q&A. And I'll go through this as fast as I can because we're not going to give you everything now. We're just going to give you the highlights. And then if you like what you see, you're going to talk to me. I'm going to give you my personal mobile phone number. You're going to text me and we're going to, get this thing rolling. So the splits are 70-30 on your first 100,000 and then 100% thereafter. But the shares you're going to be awarded in eXp World Holdings are going to be this 30 grand. And I'm going to show you in a minute how you get your 30,000, the 70-30 on the first 100,000. Right? So understand the com split is 70-30. It's on the first 100. After the 100, it's all yours, all of it. And you get the opportunity to very easily meet some criteria to get the 30 back in shares in a publicly held company. So the revenue share, Adrian was talking about that annuity income. I love the way he worded that, worded better than I am. That when you introduce or train up agents, you get what they call like I've gotten sales overrider commissions ever since I started with Michael Spillane. It's not done in every brand, but it is done in some. You wait till you see your ability to not only earn shares, but earn cash flow almost passively. Your own brand if you want it. The eXp brand if you want it. The in association with eXp if you want it. It is completely up to you. A world-class technology platform, right? The eXp World and the Cloud Campus, the eXp University, all the agency, everything included, including me in everything that I've done and perfected for the last 10 years. So, and no royalties, no franchise fees. So this is the agent count. Here, I want you to get this. This is where I saw them. Shares in this company were $3 when I saw them. They are now at $8 and they've peaked at 20. So I think I've even got later on when I'm talking about the shares, excuse me, I'll show you where the shareholding went. They were 15 cents here. They were $3 when I ran across them. They're $8 now. And their agent count was negligible here. It was a few hundred here. Now it's 29,000 as of 2020. I've got to get an updated graphic here. 29,000 odd as of now. So see this growth that happened in the USA? That is what will happen when we unleash this on Australia. This is going to happen because guess what this didn't have? Me and Adrian with our annoyingly loud voices, so to speak. So your opportunity is to get in while we're still in the garage, knowing that that is going to happen as we grow and be rewarded as such. So again, these are some of the screenshots from the digital world that you saw. You sit in this if you want to do a major conference, of which they are doing them all the time. All the daily training is shown there, the specialized departments, all the support you could ever want. If you want to just hang and chat with some of your colleagues and stuff, it's all there, including the weird soccer thing and all of that stuff. So there's me and Naomi. We did a joint avatar when we first started. Now we've separated and we've got our own avatars. When we first had a look, that's us hanging around in this weird world, you know, that can be accessed anywhere, right? Anywhere. So let's talk about the nitty gritty. How do you get paid? The commissions, the shares, the revenue shares. So first off, let's be really, really clear. 70-30 commission split caps at 100,000. Anything above and beyond that is 100%. All right. It's $200 a month to cover your technology stuff, right? So your costs are capped at $200 a month. And then every time you do a sale, it's $250 per sale. That's it. There are no more hidden costs. That is it. Now, the equity opportunities, the shares, the NASDAQ shareholding company you will get shares in is called eXpI. If you have a look at it, Google it now. Put in NASDAQ eXp World Holdings. You will see the shareholding live right now. Don't do it now. Hang with us, but do it later. Take a note. You get shares when you do your first transaction, $300. You get shares when you're fully capped. What they call cap means you hit the 100 grand GCI, right? That's when you hit the cap. You get another $600 then. If an agent that you sponsor, that i.e. that you train up or you bring into the business or whatever the case may be, when they do their first transaction, you get $600 in shares. You get $30,000 in shares upon the achievement of certain production and cultural goals within every year. So $30,000 every year. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to get those production and cultural goals. It's easy. And they even let you, if you want to, you don't have to, this is the wealth opportunity bit. So you can get 30 grand a year there. You get these 300, 600, and 600 when stuff happens on a day-to-day basis. And what you can do is you can salary sacrifice 5% of every commission that you get and get shares at a 10% discount. So if you want to do that, you don't have to, but you can. All right. And so we're going to talk about the more ways to get the shareholding when we talk about the Icon Agent Excellence Center. So when I say that, within Icon Agent, our job, both me, Adrian, Greg McDaniel, Naomi and Lisa, They're in charge of implementation. So let's talk about what we all do. My job is to get you into doors, and I've spent 10 years perfecting how to get you in front of humans, right? If you've done anything with me, you know that I've been focused on marketing to get you famous within your area and get you called in. Lately, I've added lead generation on social media to that skill set. So that's what I do, is I get you by hook or by crook into more doors. Adrian's job is, once you're into doors, build you a world-class business with the systematic approach that guy is the best on planet Earth at, to get you, once you are into doors, the most efficient and effective that you can possibly be. Greg is designed to get you global fame. He's probably the world's best at, one of the world's best podcasts for sure, and he is one of the world's best prospectors that I've ever seen. Wait till you meet Greg. That's his job. Naomi and Lisa's job is implementation, onboarding, and Lisa, as a bonus, is a bit of a social media beast in her own right. So that's their work, is because you don't want me helping you day to day with your implementation, because I'm a bit of a busy lad, right? I'll do my best to be there for you, absolutely. But these guys are the hand-holding portion of this team. Andrew G, who I don't know if he's on today, but we'll talk in the Q&A section when we get to it. Andrew G, when he met us, 12 months leading up to us, did 462,000 with a wife needing full-time care, full-time dad, business owner, real estate agent. There he is with his wife in hospital. That's him hanging with ET, beast mode guy. And that's him in the last 12 months after boot camp, 1,040,000 with all of those challenges. And I love that Andrew had this graphic made of me as the genie, saying that I'm the bloke that sort of granted him some wishes. So Andrew's part of our little clique as well. So let's talk about the shareholding and ownership. Public company, fully transferable shares. I Googled this last night, 8th of May. Googled this last night. So it was 8th of May, USA, 9th of May, over there. $8.87 is currently trading today. Started when I saw him at a few cents. When I first saw him there, it was $3. Peaked up, a year or so ago at 15 odd. Look, a few things have happened, and, the global stock markets in the States, or whatever the case may be, but it is a solid, tradable, liquid share that is currently, you could go there, it is on the NASDAQ. Those are the shares you're going to be getting. $17,500 you get after you do 20 sales. That's how you become this thing called Icon Agent. So we'll talk about this more if you want a sort of bit more information. But effectively, 17.5 if you do 20 sales a year. 7.5 if you kind of go and play the odd soccer game and you take part in the eXp world. Maybe you do the odd webinar with me and Greg, and you sort of teach other of our eXp and our Glenn Twiddle kind of agent assist people how awesome they are. You get another 7.5 following these cultural requirements. And you even get $5,000 if you go to the shareholder summit, and they do 2 events a year, the convention and the shareholder summit. Now, most of the time they're over in America. This year, this is held online in the eXp world. So you get $5,000 in shares just to go to those events. So really, but it's going to cost you a couple of grand to go to the States. So really what that means is they're paying you in shares at the Icon Agent level to go to the USA events. So they're sort of paying for your airfares and accommodation to go to those events. So that's how you get the $30,000 in stock, is you hit the Icon Agent, which is, see this 5,000 in transaction fees? What that means is, remember that $250 per sale? If we went back in the slides, you would see that, remember, it's $250 as an admin fee per sale. Well, if you do 20 of them, that's $5,000 in transaction fees. That's how you qualify for the Icon Agent. So my job, Adrian's job, is to get you to 20 sales a year. 20 sales a year. Now, the average agent does 10. I can get you to be double that, because you'll be way better than the average agent. Let's quickly talk about the revenue share, even though I don't want to talk, at great detail about this. But this is what that is. When you bring a person into eXp, because it happens all the time. When I was in my companies, one of my first mentors said, when you hire someone good, you get 3 people. When you lose someone good, you lose 3 people. It's kind of his rule of thumb. So every time you attract a person to this business through your success or whatever, like imagine this was Chris Gilmore. He's built All Properties Group through the fame that let's just say, helped him achieve by putting him on the map with real estate agents. to the greater real estate world. He built a sales company that's the largest on the south side of Brisbane. And think about this. They had to be willing to either move to the south side of Brisbane to work for Chris or already live there. And yet he built a massive company based on that. Imagine if Chris could have got a overrider commission based not out of the salesperson's commission, but out of the company's share for every person that decided they wanted to work with Chris Gilmore. That's the opportunity. And this is where it gets crazily good, even though I've got to find a way that this looks a little bit less MLM-y, right? Because I'm not a big fan of MLM. I had to get over multi-level marketing big time. But that being said, sales overriders have worked in the industry forever. The difference of this is you not only get a sales overrider on people you directly bring in, because that means you've got to continually be recruiting for that company forever in order to get a dime. What they've got is not only do you get paid to bring in or mentor, or if your PA gets really good and decides to be a salesperson of their own, under normal circumstances, you get a thanks from the boss. Isn't that nice? You get a bit of pride that gets to say, well, isn't it great that my PA went and now is kicking my butt because they're more enthusiastic than me. Well, you get a little tiny clip of the ticket out of the company's share, and it works out to 3.5%. But at the second tier, if they grow a team, you get 4% of the 100,000. So out of the 100,000, so that's what they mean by this capping. So I'm going through this quick. If you want more information, just let's have a chat, one-on-one, me and you, it's fine. Let's have a chat about it. But effectively, it goes 7 levels deep. So that means someone you introduce, you get 3.5% off. Someone they introduce, you get 4% off. Someone they introduce, 2.5%. So it goes down a little bit in the middle levels there. At the magical 7th level, you've probably never even met this person, but this person caps, you get 5% of that 100,000. So that's kind of the deal there. And that's not just limited to Australia, even though Australia is the one where there's that graphic going upwards. It's going to be massive, gang. And now's your chance to literally be in the garage when Netflix is founded, when Uber is founded, when Apple is founded, when all of those, game-changing companies were founded in the garage. You get the confidence of knowing that the curve is going to be exponential, but you get the benefit of knowing you're one of the first 20 or 30 people in this country to hear about it. If you're on this web training, literally I've spoken to 20 people. The company eXp hasn't gone massively public because they've been too busy fulfilling the promise to you, which is everything that a current office offers, we offer digitally online. What that means is, and I'm not going to go through too much about the shareholder or the con or the Regis, which is flexible office space if you need it, the agent services and all of these things. I'm not going to go through all this. We can talk about this at a later time. This is interesting though. For your $200 a month, you get your REA subscription, your domain subscription, you get your Google Suite, Agent Point, your forms in whatever state you are in. You get your RP data. You get your Agent Box CRM. So all of the tech, essentially this is the way I look at it. All of this stuff, some of it I've never even looked into. I've had a quick look at Proposal Point. It's your listing presentation follow-up procedure. It's quite magnificent, but I barely had a glance at that. The way I looked at it, RP data is more than $200 a month. So it's like buy RP data, get everything else free. So we can talk about all of that stuff. Like I said, you're not limited to your branding being necessarily eXp. It can be eXp, it can be in association with, or it can be your own company. These are the values, by the way, of the company eXp, and I certainly share many of them. Community, fun. It's agile enough to twist and change. I've already requested some changes of eXp corporate down here in Australia, and they've already agreed to them. I love that they are walking their talk on being agile and being able to move like that. Unlike some of the big clunky corporates, it takes them however long to make any sort of change. These guys turned on a dime with the first request I made for them to change. Unbelievable. Innovation, they are certainly leading the way in that. Integrity, I'm big on that. I wouldn't be involved with this if it was anything less than perfectly integrity. Service, sustainability, collaboration, and transparency. These are their values, and I'm proud to, as Adrian is just saying, an advocate of it, part of it, and a major part of it at that. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to ignore this URL unless Naomi tells me otherwise, and she can poke her head in there. If you want to have a chat with me, and we're going to do some Q&A now, and there are 2 ways to do Q&A, so stick around. We're going to just now have an informal chat with Adrian, with some of the guys. If you've got questions of me, questions of Adrian, no? Okay, so the way to get involved is text me. That is my personal mobile phone number. That is this phone right here is that phone number, right? So please don't abuse it. Please, 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 please. But just text me that you're keen. And that there is the phone number, 0400 466 371. That's my number. Just text me, because I've got a bunch of you in my phone already. So just text me. And if I come back and say, sorry, new phone. And by the way, I'm going to have to get another new phone because I dropped mine today and there's a crack in the screen. Can't do that. I've got to have a new phone now. So that's my number, 0400 466 371. What it works out at is, you know how there's letters on numbers, or there used to be? That's 0400 Homes 1. What a great phone number for a real estate agent, eh? I'll never let that phone number go. So this phone is 0400 Homes 1. So text me if you are keen. All right, so let's Q&A. So Adrian, I know we've spoken at length about this, but that's the first time you've sat through me ranting about it. Did you have any comments or even questions, based on, I suppose, those? See, they're the things that are most important to me. I might have skipped over some of the things important to other people, but what would be your commentary on that kind of rant, so to speak?
Look, I think the main thing that stands out, Glenn, from an agent's perspective, is obviously 70% is more than competitive. It's probably above what most people are offering, which is probably 50, 60%. I mean, there's some that are higher, but just don't have the sustainability and the infrastructure and support and the fact that you've got such a strong public listed company with so much asset behind it. So I think 70% is extremely fair. Now, you've only got to do 100,000, as you said, you're at 100%. So there's no use even talking about commission, because once you're at 100%, it's
yeah. So and to be clear, because I got that wrong in the early days as well. The 2 requirements to get the 30,000 in shares are you cap. So you do 100,000 in GCI. So everyone's going to cap. You know, if you're getting mentored by me and Adrian collectively, you can't not do 100. It's those 20 transactions. And that's probably going to be, in most areas, about a 10 grand comp split. So it's probably going to be about 200,000 in GCI, but it's 20 transactions. And so, mate, with what we've been doing, not one of our students, even individually, let alone as a collective, not one of our students who implements what we teach them does only 20 transactions a year. So, yeah.
The other thing is like $200 a month to have access to all those points of infrastructure and resource is incredible. Like, as you said, I've seen that listing presentation, the one that you mentioned there. It's a digital listing presentation document. It's great. You can populate it with your own branding, etc. But look, these are really, small cost to run a business, and this is sustainable. Don't think it's too good to be true, because it is true. The reason that it's so affordable is the scale. Like, we're not trying to hide that. It's a large organization. They've got the luxury of scale. However, you're not just a number. Like, you saw the opportunities that are there. One, to earn money through listing and selling. 2, to get your own brand. You can either use eXp, or you can use Adrian Bow Real Estate, Glenn Twiddle, whatever you want to do. So 3, you can get that passive annuity type of income, and that can happen organically. I don't think you necessarily need to have KPIs around, prospecting for new recruits, etc. I think that's just going to happen organically. People 100%. Are going to be connected to you, and then you're just going to be compelled. Like, when you meet a friend and they've got a plumbing issue, you go, "Oh, I've got a guy," or they say, "Oh, solicitor, I've got the perfect lady for." It's going to be a bit like that. It's like, you're going to have a conversation with an agent. They're like, you know what? I don't know. I'm only on sort of 50 or 60%. I want to run my own business, but I heard it costs $300,000 to fit an office out, and probably $60,000 a month to run it. I don't know if that's really the right thing to do. And they're going to go, I've got the company for you, you know, like, and they're going to refer you to Glenn, and you know, then suddenly you're going to plug into this eXp machine, and literally, and everything will cascade down to resources, infrastructure, training, coaching, systems, CRMs, everything you can dream of. So, look, again, I actually think this is ahead of its time, but it's inevitable. And whoever embraces it early are going to be the beneficiaries of. I'm with you, Glenn. I don't like the MLM side of things, but at the end of the day, the earlier you get in, the more you're going to benefit from having more people around you involved.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I tell you, when I first heard it, that was one of my objections. Too good to be true, But the more I looked into it, the more I thought, and I did have actually someone say to me in the early parts, no, it can't work. The numbers don't work. They'll be out of business because there's no money in it for them. And yet they've figured out the way to make the metrics work when you involve the shares and the growth of the company and the fact that, they actually get some profitability within that structure, because not everyone goes 7 levels deep. So those who perform get the lion's share of the profit, rightly so, because the company rewards the performers and still even rewards people who do okay above average. I love it. It's just a great thing. And, again, without sounding big-headed, I tell you, I am going to slowly remove my availability as a coach to the greater industry at large. The greater industry at large will get my spare time. You guys will be the ones who get the majority of my time. And that ratio at the moment, it's all the public. And, again, literally 12 people out of the 16, 17 people that I've spoken to about this are in. So Alex Harden and Felicity Harden just said, if I wasn't already in, I'd be in, right? So she was in the comment section. Because they're one of the first people I talked to, not through, and as Adrian said, it was organic. It wasn't because I set out to go to my key clients. They were just talking about something that I thought, oh, maybe you should have. And I spoke to them early just because I was talking to them about something else that it really organically fitted. The minute they saw it, they jumped on board. So it's definitely going to be not a hard pitch for you to be out there scraping your way in, but it's going to go through the roof just cause. And if you're able to say, and by the way, you get Glenn Twiddle for free. Now, to some people, they'd say, you'd have to pay me to take that tosser. But for some people, they pay me $50,000 a year to get me in their world. So you pay a grand total of nothing, right? I don't know. Sounds like a good deal to me. And I tell you, if you include Buggerlugs right there, I'd pay that man $50,000 a year when I've seen his brutally good systemization skills. They're second to none. And you get us as part of it. Buddy, not too bad. So Stephen is our head of Australia eXp representative. So if there's any independent-y kind of, if there's any administration-y questions, anything about the structure and all of that, Stephen's your guy. So just to give Stephen an intro, I met Stephen 20 years ago when he was part of corporate for Coldwell Banker. Right? Largest at the time, the most real estate agents on planet Earth were with the Coldwell Banker organization, 70% market share in the greater LA region. And I met Stephen when him and his business partner came to talk to our little independent about coming part of the Coldwell Banker group. And it took a while, but I ended up working with the Coldwell Banker organization in the subsequent years. So that's where I met Stephen. In those subsequent 2 decades, Stephen has gone on to work with the largest corporates in Australia, including the McGrath Group, including Remax, and he, what he doesn't know about real estate isn't worth knowing. So, Stephen, if that's the intro, Bud, Trevor asks about if currently working for an agency, would this work, or would it be for an independent agent only?
Both. So whether you're, we had a meeting this morning. This was with a licensee who owned a business with, I think, 7 or 8 agents. We were having discussions with them about how would he migrate his entire business into this model. And then we have many conversations every day about individual agents, typical phone call, guy from Melbourne. Hey, Stephen, I've heard about you. What are you writing? $1 million a year. Can I ask you what your split is? 50-50. And I say, you're going to love what I'm about to tell you. So I guess it's both business owners and those individual agents. So yeah, happy to talk to these people. To hear more.
But Trevor, if what you're saying is, can I stay working for Ray White and come across to this network? The unfortunate answer is no, in that you can only be attached to an agency. So when you come across to us, you become part of this network and you choose how your corporate branding is, but you do have to be either licensed yourself or be able to work commission only for this digital brokerage. I mean, I don't know if I'm wording that badly, Stephen, or...
No, that's perfect. The only thing that we have to be aware of are those agents who we bring on board as commission-only agents. They just need to fulfil the minimum wage criteria, which is essentially saying in a 12-month period, you've got to be seen to have earned at least 60 grand sometime in the last 3 years. So that's the only condition, because at the moment we're not paying salaries or retainers to agents.
Yeah, cool. So now Jacinta asks, good question. Okay, what happens to your listings? Are they exclusive to you, and does it have trust accounting?
Yep, so we have a trust account now in 5 states. So we're licensed in 5 states, corporations licensed in 5 states, trust accounts in 5 states. So to answer the question, we would operate just as any other office would be supporting it. We handle all of the administration, your listings, the closings, the contracts, right through to settlement and paying out commissions.
What was it that was your, I suppose, join up with this? Because you had Harden Property already rocking, you had everything ready to go, and you had me, you got me as a coach. So you didn't need me. What was it about the eXp structure that you guys said, love it?
Well, apart from the fact that we can already save over $50,000.
Oh, there he is. Hey, dude.
There he is.
There you go.
Hey, man. We're just doing the why eXp talk. Why do this thing?
Cool.
Well, apart from, I don't know, like I was busy. I was with a client, and so I missed the beginning of this. But I don't know if you have a slide on there, something, because I remember the first thing you said to us was going to be, this is the future of real estate. It's going to set you free, but first it's going to piss you off.
I did say that.
And you weren't wrong, because that 50 grand, like, we pay you that and you're worth 10 times that easily, and we'd happily keep paying you. But now we don't have to. We're also saving a lot in our monthly fees, aren't we? Just with what eXp offers, $199 a month, to cover all of you. We're actually getting a lot more than what we had before for less than a tenth of what it was costing us per month, which is just phenomenal. So yeah, also the support, like that's a big thing for us. Like we have you, we have 3 other, we had, going into COVID, we had you and 1 other coach, and we've actually picked up 2 more coaches during COVID.
Yeah.
And we attribute so much of our success. We believe that we would have gotten successful anyway, but we just think that we've accelerated that and achieved far more with far less mistakes and far less investment than if we wouldn't have had, people like yourself on our side.
I always say that. I always say that a winner is going to win regardless. My job is to fast track that and fast track the learning curve that inevitably they would have got to anyway. So, a lot of people say that, the coach does it, and fair enough, the coach might add some ideas that you never thought of, fine. But the fact is, a winner was going to find a way no matter where they got the information. And trial and error is one valid way to get the information. I just don't like that way. It takes too long, So,
way too much effort as well.
Yeah, I mean, you keep saying, you don't want to toot your own horn and, get people on that. But the fact is, we can toot your horn for you. At the end of the day, like, literally for us, having someone like you on board and other people get you on board as well, and people like Adrian Burrow, I mean,
yeah, we're really
who else
excited
gets access to that,
Adrian.
right? That, has to pay big bucks. You know what I mean? Like, people will actually get great benefit out of that, like we have. And that's as Felicity said, that's how we got to where we wanted to go quicker. You know what I mean? Yeah. So people get access to that.
Yeah.
So, as well as all the other training that eXp offers as well. Like, I mean, you've got the American side of things too, where you've got the university as well. I mean, geez, if you can't get anything out of that, you've got issues.
Yeah, like I had a look at some of the training. It's world class. So 20 odd hours a week. Like, you're never going to be want for what to do. Like, literally, you must know what to do when you've got this brains trust on your side and not kind of paying for it. So
I guess for us, another thing is really. Did you say like pick one thing, because we can't?
I don't know. Yeah, no.
I think the other thing as well, like knowing now we've actually, because we already had our brand. We started out recently. We've been doing well. We've got support from trainers and mentors, but there's a whole lot of other support that we never had with that, you know, with a trust accounting and stuff.
Sorry.
Like,
Oh, hello, puppy.
yeah, she has to steal the
Yeah,
limelight.
she does.
But yeah, there's so many other things like with the trust accounting, just having that backup, that HR backup, because we've already had people, you know, who want to come on board with us that,
Yep.
you know, and we're so busy, we don't have the ability to do that without the help in the background.
So is there anything that we've been talking about, Andrew, that you would add to as to the reason you sort of thought this was an opportunity for you?
Well, I reckon being able to get Glenn Twiddle for $199 a month, I agree with what Felicity said. I paid 50 grand. And I'm certainly not asking for a refund, mate. I paid 50 grand and got $550,000 worth of additional fees into my office that year. So I'm not asking for a refund. But anyone that wants to increase their business or double their business just straight away, just get Glenn involved in your life and in your business, and you'll get that. And by the way, you get eXp thrown in. So for your $199, you also get Agent Box, you get RP Data, and all of the other tech platforms just included. I'm saving about $4.5 grand a month. And for my $4.5 grand that I've been paying for, 25 years since I've had my own agency, I've been doing this 33 now this year. But I've had my own agencies for about 25 of those years, and I've been paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and everyone now has the opportunity just to jump in and get that for $199 a month. So just that by itself, there's so many, like if you look at the list of things that you get with eXp, each one of them is worth, thousands or tens of thousands, or with GT, hundreds of thousands of dollars to your business. And you're going to get it for $199 a month. It's a no-brainer. Absolutely, it's a no-brainer.
I love it. So, Lise, thanks for jumping on. You're probably the first person I talked to about this, maybe a year ago, maybe more, because Lisa and me and Naomi, we've been buds for a long, long time. What's been your takeaway above and beyond anything we've discussed? What would be your commentary on what you saw as exciting? You're no slouch at this. You've been a listing and selling principal. You've been an agent. You've been all of the above. What's been your take and your kind of thoughts above and beyond what we've already discussed?
The thing that I like is the two businesses in one, for people that can list and sell, but also build a team underneath them. I like the local support of us plus the global support of eXp. I like the futuristic side of it. I mean, my son's 13. We jumped on with Stephen today and went into eXp world, and he's like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So he's, running around the world and everything. So, that's the next generation coming into real estate who, this is the platform for them. I can see, the next generation just loving this side of it. I'm so excited about just working with you guys and, something bigger than myself, like it's lonely being a business person. I've had my own real estate offices since I was 21, 22. And, it's lonely. I think it's nice to have a team of people that we can work with and, and help each other and build a global business, I think also the opportunities, it being in America, you never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to do, what opportunities open up. I like that side of it. I'm just really excited to get going with it. Like I've been saying to Glenn, okay, come on, hurry up last year. Come on, hurry up. We need a meeting. We need to do this. Come on. So today is the day, I'm just really excited. I'm really excited about the whole thing.
Nice. Everything that you saw with regards to the commission splits, the revenue share, all of that stuff is eXp's as a vehicle. All you miss out on not be through us is us, right? The coaching of me and all of those sorts of things. So I have brought you here. So when you sign up, you'll be assigned to us, right? So you get everything that we've talked about here today. If you're already an eXp, understand that I've got to, again, we'll be involved in some way. I'm sure that Stephen will have us talking in the eXp world and things like that. But please understand, I didn't buy the eXp franchise for Australia. No one did, right? You can't buy it. It is an agent-owned shareholding opportunity that no one owns individually. No one owns the rights to eXp Australia. So there are some people that are in eXp that aren't part of my clique. Well, all they really miss out on is getting us. It's a massive opportunity, the likes of which I've never seen in my real estate career. And I'm honored to be. Now, by the way, like I said, I am no different than you, meaning I'm not a shareholder. They give me no special treatment. They give me nothing more than what you have. The same opportunity to build 7 levels I have is you have. So Glenn doesn't have any advantage. There is no one at the top of the tree that has an advantage over you, because the amount of agents that have already signed up is negligible. It's like, a couple of dozen, right? Now, that means you have the opportunity of a lifetime as well. So let's get in board. And the other thing is, you've got me that's designed. Like, I don't want to sign everyone up directly under me. I want to sign up people and help you guys. I want to come to your area, help you guys, do a seminar. Not a seminar just like this where we're just talking eXp and what we do. No, we'll do a seminar, add value to your people. And then we'll drag anyone who wants to kind of play with us out to dinner that night, right? So my job's to build your guys' business. It is the opportunity that I didn't even know it. But I've been building my career and my skill set waiting for this opportunity, and I didn't even know it for the last 12 years. And so now we get to deploy that, and text me, and that's what it starts with. And 0400 Homes 1. That's my personal number. So please be respectful of that. Text me and we'll talk.
Oh, look, I just think it's a great opportunity for anyone that's listening that actually wants to do something more than just list and sell real estate, number one, and that wants to be part of something broader than just yourself and your assistant or yourself and your colleague. It's an international community. There's incredible scope for connections, referrals, in addition to everything you've just spoken about. So again, I just go back to the basics of the revenue streams. One is your listing and selling, so that's a big tick because you're talking 70 to 100%. 2 is the market profile and the profit that brings, and 3 is that annuity or that passive asset, if you like, that you're building, or that income, and it's all there, and it's an organic approach. It's not a hard sell approach. It's not a telemarketing approach. It's just you being great at what you do, and once you're great at what you do, you're just going to organically attract good people around you, and you're going to feel compelled to refer them, and then they're going to feel compelled to refer other people, and that's where you get, let's call it, for the lack of a better word, the MLM approach, but that's really all it is. It's people feeling compelled to share what is this vehicle that Steve's representing here in Australia. That's really all it comes down to. So, yeah.
And you met the founder, Adrian. You and I wish I could have been there down in Sydney, but you went and hung out with the founder. What was your take on Glenn Sanford?
Really humble guy. Steve, myself, and Glenn had a 2 or 3 hour lunch, a couple of glasses of wine. Just literally a really down to earth, humble guy. And he's very passionate about the not only the product and the brand, but also the people within it. So those goals or values that we saw that you put up on the screen, they're not just from the hip and just values to fill up a PowerPoint presentation. These are real values that real people are adopting, implementing and deploying on a daily basis within their organisation. So, and Stephen's obviously a great advocate here in Australia, and I think anyone that's attached to this business, you can see that Glenn's DNA is all over it. He ticks all the boxes for someone that's not only humble, he's affable, he's someone that you can connect easily with. He's down to earth. Obviously independently a very wealthy person, but you wouldn't pick that. He'd really just be like one of us talking amongst us. So yeah, really, really honoured to meet him, and it was great. It was a great time, wasn't it, Steve?
You bet. Yeah, great all-round guy.
Beautiful. All right. So, Gnomes, you've just jumped on. Thank you. And I know you've been behind the scenes ushering everyone in and sort of doing this sort of stuff. But, how would you finish off as we wrap up?
I'm looking forward to the day that we all jump on the aeroplane and we fly to Miami, the Australian contingent with our Union Jack flying, and we land in Miami and we take over, whether that's Vegas or whether that's the shareholder meeting in Miami, and we all go over there and and just be this big, wonderful family. I just think that there is so much that everybody can get from this. It opens up agents that are stuck in businesses at the moment that are unhappy with no support, and principals that just won't give them what they need to flourish. Because you know what, this industry can set you up for life. It can give you everything that you've ever dreamed of. You just need the right vehicle behind you to get you there. And I think eXp gives that to every single agent in Australia.
Yeah, and that whole flight to Miami and stuff is on eXp's dime. As long as you hit that icon agent, eXp's shouting. Very cool.
And just lastly, I think we're very honoured to have Adrian Bowe in our leadership team as well. So Adrian, very, very excited, mate, to have you. And I look forward to a very long friendship with you. And of course, everybody else that's coming along. But thank you. I'm just so glad that you're on board as well.
Yeah, thanks. It's been cool 10 years, working with you guys. So obviously we'll do it for another 10 or 20, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's great to have this sort of, some of these relationships that have been at distance kind of, brought in house a little bit. And, it's an honor. So, all right, let's do a runner, gang. Any questions, you can email them through. Everyone's got their name on here, I think. You can see everyone's name. Lisa B, she owns the Let's Talk About Real Estate group. So you can find Lisa consistently in there. You know where to find me and Naomi. Stephen Lee, of course. You can find all of us on Facebook and in the various groups. Harden Property is the Facebook page for Alex and Felicity Harden. Of course, Andrew G, you see him all around any of the groups that we talk about. But he's probably not as prominent in there because he's so busy bloody being a dad, being a principal licensee, just being an animal, being a beast. But Andrew G. So is there anyone else that was on earlier? No. That's all of us. So find us. If you've got any questions, reach out, and you've got my phone number, 0400 Homes 1, if you want to chat confidentially. All right, gang. Thanks, everyone, for jumping on. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Bye for now.